Hello, welcome to this week's tips and tricks where we talk about how to stay balanced, and in particular today we are going to talk about balance and how to support the cerebellum. Remember, the cerebellum is in the back part of the brain, and one of the main functions of the cerebellum is helping with balance, coordination, and smoothing out movement. So we really want to pay a lot of attention to balance because it can also help with language output and other motor output, as well as thought. Some of anything that has to do with balancing. So for example, here is a wobble board that children can stand on. There's all kinds of wobble boards. You can just look them up. They're balance boards. You can look them up on Amazon. Here is a wiggle cushion. This is great for sitting. It's also great because there's a pokey side, and if they're sitting or if they're standing with just bare feet, they get extra proprioceptive and tactile input from this. But when they are on it, they have to learn to stabilize, and learning to stabilize the body is part of what the cerebellum is going to do. Another thing that they can do, it's not necessarily balancing with the feet, but they can take a ruler and they can balance. They love this, by the way, balance with 2 fingers. So just go to Lowe's or something, get a cheap yardstick, something really light. In fact, if you do research, people talk a lot about using peacock feathers. So if you have access to peacocks, there you go. Then you would just use 1 finger for that. And the trick is to put your eyes up at the top, and then they can time themselves, and over time they are so happy because they are able to do it even up to a minute. In the beginning it will be quite challenging. So anything that has to do with balancing, and while they're balancing, have them practice their flashcards. Maybe you're in school and you want to be attaching that cognitive skill, doing some learning while you are balancing, or whether you can also stand on these wiggle cushions. This is pretty inexpensive way you get a lot of bang out of your butt because you can sit on it, you can stand on it. I used to use these in the kindergarten. We taped the vocabulary words and they would jump from one to the other. It was a little bit unstable, and so that was really good for challenging the balance. They can also stand on 1 foot, time them on each leg. They're probably better on 1 leg than the other. They can put 2 feet in front of the other and then put out their arms and stand. If that's easy, close their eyes. If that's easy, tilt their head back. They can walk 1 foot in front of the other. I have a board that I use as a balance beam, so that board is just a little bit off the ground. And in fact, in Japan, they walk on, I've seen kids walk on fences, those iron fences that are like that narrow, and they're walking on the fences in the schools. They have a lot of balance promoting activities, unicycles and stilts and pogo sticks and all kinds of things. So those are all different ways that you can help address the cerebellum. Anything that is challenging will be helping the cerebellum. Anything that's easy, the cerebellum has nothing to do with it. So once an activity is automatic, another part of the brain basically takes over. So then you just have to figure out how do you make that task just a little bit more problematic. So that classic tap your head and rub your tummy. You can. This is a good one. Kids really like this. This is really difficult at first, and then once this becomes too easy, then you have to add a clap in between, and that gets me every time.